Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now we're taking a look here today at Chromia, which is CHR, and this is a signal that I sent out to my patrons here recently. So the main purpose of this video is to help brush you up to speed so you know specifically what kind of investment you made. And if you haven't jumped in, perhaps you might want to consider that because Chromia is actually doing what we anticipated here, making higher highs and higher lows, and essentially soon to test its previous all-time high. So exciting times here, of course. And just know, to preface, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should do your own research. And if you're new to the channel, I have years of trading experience, and my goal is to help you trade for a lifetime, not just for one day. So simply put, that's my goal here, is to make sure you become a better trader, more self-sufficient, and not reliant on other YouTubers, so to speak. Now, if you want to be more autopilot and follow my trading style, I do have a Patron account where I share all of my trades with my community members. I average about 80% success rate using what you're going to learn here today. So check that out in your own time, of course. Really appreciate your support. And obviously, to my current patrons, thank you. You're amazing. My life wouldn't be as great as it is right now without you. So thank you so much. You make my life a better place. And obviously, room for growth here as well, because we are close to 50 members here strong. My goal is to hit 200, so this can be a full-time thing. All right, so appreciate you in advance for the current support and obviously future support if you're considering that. Now moving forward, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts, right? No need to ramble on any further. Let's get to it. Let's take a look. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at Chromia. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first to get a baseline of the market so we know exactly what's going on, because any good trader will understand all areas of the market. And why not understand what Bitcoin's doing, because that's the biggest coin in the industry that kind of controls the market. And Ethereum, a lot of the coins are on the ERC20 blockchain, so it's important to look at that as well. Always stay abreast on those two coins. It's the most important thing you could probably do if you're not going to really worry too much about fundamentals, and just kind of dive right into the technical charts. So let's take a look here, of course. And just before we do, I always like to preface, because I get this question a lot, I use TradingView.com desktop application. Recommend using the paid versions because you get more than 2 indicators present at any given time. Now, even though I only like 2 indicators present on each time frame, I cycle through 4 to 5 time frames at any given time. Therefore, I think it's very helpful to have access to that to ensure that you can kind of cycle through different time frames, because each time frame has specific indicators that are relevant to that time frame. You shouldn't use one time frame or just one indicator. You need to use a lot of different ones throughout. So anyways, we'll look at that here today. I like to try to explain that, but generally speaking, that's what we're looking at here. Now, I also like to just clarify too, we use the simple moving averages. I prefer simple moving averages over exponential moving averages on larger time frames. It just makes more sense. It's a better average data, and the price seems to be more respondent to that. In my tenure, I've noticed that that is essentially more impactful on larger time frames. Okay. Therefore, let's go ahead and take a look here. So first of all, this is the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. To note, we have 3 support and resistance levels presently that I've drawn in here so far. We've got 44,000 as a major support. Secondary support, which is kind of more so recently established itself at 46,800. And then, of course, we got a major resistance level here at 49,300. This 49.3 has been tested about 6-7 times in the past 2 to 3 days, and it's working really strong as a major resistance level. Recently it pumped above but got reduced down below and obviously retraced. And here's the thing too, the 50-day simple moving average, that's this orange line here, is working as a resistance right now. So you can see the price is trying to break above, but it can't. It previously held above but dropped below. So at this point in time, it's currently working as a resistance. So we've got 2 resistance levels, 49,300 and the current 50, which is at about 48,500 approximately. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of pushing the price down. Do I feel like it'll break above and stay above soon? Yes, definitely. We just kind of got to see this cycle through. First of all, to note, and this is early, of course, but we do have higher highs and higher lows. This is being the lowest point. This is a high, and then this is a higher low, right? So if all goes well, the price continues up, closes up here, and then kind of just continues to do a staircase pattern on to the upside past 50,000. That's the goal. A lot of altcoins right now are kind of just on pause based on the fact that Bitcoin hasn't quite made up its mind. But once Bitcoin breaks above 50,000 and closes on the 1-day chart, keep in mind it has to close on the 1-day chart, that will essentially be a whole new world, right? A whole new world. It's going to take up and make sure to open up a lot of different opportunities for cryptocurrencies, specifically altcoins, right? So just keep that in mind, kind of pay attention to that. That's what we're looking out for. And here's an example, right? Ethereum is essentially mirroring Bitcoin right now because it doesn't know what to do based on the fact that it is kind of reliant on Bitcoin for the moment. It's not a sandbox, it's not an LRC, it's not one of those coins that can kind of break above outside of Bitcoin doing poorly or just kind of say sideways. Ethereum has been fairly reliant on Bitcoin ever since it's decreased in price and went down to sub 30,000. But that being said, either way, Ethereum's still in very good shape. Sideways action is what we want. I think we're going to see a breakout soon. To the upside, of course, after Bitcoin does the same thing, right? But bottom line is that the price action is almost identical. We have a current support level at right around 2,900, and of course the 200 is working its way up, so this is a good sign. I could drive the price up here, of course, but the price is still under the 50-day simple moving average and also under 3250, right? So 3250 is the current resistance level. It's worked pretty strong as a support and resistance level recently. That is Ethereum. So now looking at Chromia here, first of all, let's take a look at the one-day chart. And the one-day chart here kind of tells us a lot, right? First of all, we've had a really strong all-time high in the past. That's going to be the new support level. So we're going to go ahead and drive this home here. And sorry, correction, it's going to be a new resistance rather. We want it to become a support, but we're a little early on that. In other words, right around 57 cents, if we round up, 57 cents will be the new major resistance level because that was the previous all-time high for Chromia. And also, as we can see here, Chromia got too high for its britches. If you look at this here, it had an 840% increase in 4 trading days. Okay, so that's huge. Actually, five trading days. So you could just say a week it had 840% growth. So it had to retrace back down. Also note too that April 17th wasn't so good to it. The price had to come down here as well even further. But what's nice, and you can kind of see this average out. A lot of times when you have a strong increase, the 840%, you cut that in half, you split that difference, 420%, that's roughly right around here. Most coins tend to average out about 50% on a retracement when the price jumps up way too high, way too fast. So it averaged itself out in its true range of about 32 to just say 45 cents, but it couldn't get past 44. Actually, I think I drew this out as well, about 43 cents was a major resistance. That's kind of a consistent resistance line. But what's great here is we had this ascending triangle pattern. We had a breakout to the upside yesterday. The one-day chart closed above, and today here it is taking off again. So this is something I sent out to my Signal group, which is awesome. I was able to kind of identify this early, and hopefully a lot of people were able to kind of get in on that because honestly, right now I think it's going to continue to its previous all-time high and likely surpass that. Because here's a cool thing: Bitcoin's going sideways right now, and Chromia is going up. That's a very good sign. That means there's some pretty good fundamentals, but more importantly, it's a coin that's undervalued right now. Okay, so that's a really good sign. I like a lot of things I see here. The 200 and the simple and the 50 rather simple moving averages are working as support levels. They haven't been tested yet, but we'll likely see the 50 get tested here in the next couple weeks. RSI is still under 70, which is excellent. It means we have a lot more room for growth. And we did have a recent convergence on the MACD that was approximately 2 days ago. So right here, the MACD told us that, hey, we've got some price action. It's going to start taking off soon. So I think I sent my signal out a little earlier than that, but honestly, anything under 40 cents would have been a good buy. All right, looking at the 4-hour chart here, let's take a quick look now. I want to identify, pretty much the same point. Well, look, if you see this MACD convergence here, and if you're new to the channel or just in general what a MACD is, it's moving average convergence divergence. It takes the 12 and the 26, the exponential moving averages. So the 12 is this blue line here, essentially moving faster. It's a faster moving average. When it intersects upwards at this point here, that's considered a convergence. And the convergence basically says, hey, the bears are no longer in control. They've lost control. Momentum is swinging bullishly. So that momentous shift on the 4-hour chart is very impactful because it tells us big picture that, hey, there's going to be a long-term investment here, a long-term increase. Therefore, it would be advantageous to consider taking entry. So oftentimes when you see convergence on the MACD, it usually signals a pretty strong indication of a long position, something you want to hold for longer than just a day, if you will, right? It's more of a swing trader's tool. So I usually identify that first. So let's just quickly mark that here on the chart. So we had the convergence at approximately 1700 on the 27th. That's right in this range here. Okay. Now the reason I want to mark this is because I'm willing to bet if we look at the 1-hour chart, we get confirmation that the Ichimoku Cloud kind of told us that the price is above the cloud, therefore we can take entry as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, just before we do though, keep in mind, obviously without kind of self-explanatory here, the 50-day simple moving average, this orange line, is essentially telling us that the price is working as a support level now. So what's cool about this, now that we're above and we closed above 43 cents, which was the previous resistance, that's now a support. And the 50-day simple moving average is working its way up as well. So that'll continue to reaffirm that support level. Okay. So all good things here for Chromia. I think we're looking very good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cloud and see what's going on here. Look at that. So here's the two things. So I've marked this first one. This long line here is the one-day chart telling us we have a convergence on the MACD, basically telling us first that, hey, this price is going up. You might want to consider investing, right? So this line right here told us that. The second line here, the MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart, which I prefer to rely on a little bit more, so it's a little bit more reliable, of course. The reason why that is helpful, though, is because what it does is, again, it's telling us the bullish trend is occurring, right? So the bears are conceding, the bears have lost, and the bulls are in control. And what's great about this, if you look at this, within no less than 2 hours later, after the MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart told us we have a buy signal, we get the same buy signal from the Ichimoku Cloud because the price broke above right here. Now, if you're new to this, the Ichimoku Cloud really just simply tells us that when the price is above, it's considered bullish. When it's below, it's considered bearish, and it's basically a buy position if you're on the 1-hour chart specifically, when the price is above the cloud, and then the inverse as well for when it is under. Typically, you're not supposed to invest when it's within the cloud, but had you just jumped in right here, it would have been okay because it didn't break below, right? So generally speaking, that's kind of what you look for. So we've got a convergence on the MACD. We've got an ascending wedge pattern that broke to the upside. We broke the previous resistance of 43 cents, getting ahead of myself. And of course, we've got that working as a support level now. So all good things here for Chromia right now. I think a long position is absolutely recommended. We want to take a look at the TD sequential here and see if we've reached a state of exhaustion, if we got a reset. This is great. Okay. So we got a reset here, which is good. So if you're new to this as well, TD sequential basically tells us when the price is considered to be exhausted. So if you see it counting from 1 to a 9, when you hit a 9, it essentially tells us that, hey, that's, we're in overtime right now. It will likely continue to retrace or go sideways from there. Okay, so if we look back here at any point, just say, for example, we see a 9 here on the bearish side. So it's selling off for 9 hours straight. And then it went even further, so it went extra. That does happen sometimes. But generally speaking, when you see a 9, it's supposed to reset and kind of come back to the upside or at least go sideways. This kind of went sideways for a while, if you will, but that's kind of how it works. Again, it's not a foolproof. It's not 100%. But based on the fact that the price has increased significantly in the last 24 hours, we want to pay attention to market exhaustion, because if the bulls are exhausted, we're going to see a pullback, which is all well and good because you need to have that. In any good bull run, you need to have some sideways action, some retracement, which is what we're seeing here. In other words, price went up to, we count up to a 4, we got a reset here, which is good. It's basically allowing the price to average out and to bring that volume weighted average price up. We need to have that coming up, so that way there's not a strong standard deviation between the two. And what I mean by that here is on the 15-minute chart, let's go ahead and take a look at that here. There's a standard deviation line that occurs with the volume weighted average price. So this blue line is essentially VWAP, right? It's a volume weighted average price. It takes the volume last 24 hours, express it as a price. Now it's extremely important for day trading, also swing trading too, but it's only relevant on smaller time frames. On the 15-minute chart, for example, or even lower, it essentially reflects the same on a 1-minute chart too, right? It just works as a support and resistance level, right? So when the price comes down, kind of bounces off the VWAP, that tells you that you're holding support and that the price will likely stay above. Okay, so that's kind of what you look for here. So if you're looking on the 15-minute chart here, you'll see, hey, okay, cool, price came down, and yes, it broke below, but the EMA line held. We broke below here as well, but the bulls took back in control. So there's a lot of things you can kind of disseminate from it. Again, it's not exact science, but for the most part, when the price is above VWAP, it's considered a support level, and when it's below, it's considered a resistance. So we're above support right now, and we also have a secondary support here as well at 43 cents, right? So remember that that's still a fallback. So if we do lose VWAP here and the price retraces back down, we have a nice strong support at 43 cents. Okay, because right now, keep in mind, this is going to be working itself into a channel between 43 cents upwards of its previous all-time high of, what is that again? 57 cents. So 43 to 57, that's kind of what we're looking at there. All right, and we're right in the middle. We're smack dab in the middle of that channel, which is perfect and excellent. That's what we like to see. But here's another cool thing too. I like this bullish trend. You see how it's kind of going up over, Yes, it's retracing a little bit, but it's still creating a staircase pattern. So I think we're going to see another leg up here soon once the price continues to retrace a little bit further. It might come down and test the VWAP line and then break above. Another thing to note as well, and this is another thing for confirmation I'd like to look for, is the EMA. Now EMA is the exponential moving average. That's this red line here. I use the EMA 15. Most defaults are 9 and 20. I split the difference so I only have one indicator present. Again, you want no more than 2 indicators present minus RSI and MACD per chart so you can have a lot more to focus on. You don't need to get crazy like some of those other YouTubers out there and look really cool by having a lot of noise on the screen. That doesn't make any sense at all, right? So we don't want to bother with that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You want to only use 2 indicators present per time that are the most relevant. EMA and VWAP are the most successful for me. That gives me an 80% success rate. My channel can actually attest that. In other words, a lot of my subscribers, my Patron account, they've noticed that that does happen. Yes, I find a fewer signals than most, but I find the good ones and the ones that typically stand out. And in this case here, Chromia was one of those. I signaled this a few days ago and it's taken off and it's doing good things because I stick to a plan, right? I hold true to my analysis that you see here today. I use this every single day in my trading and I do share that with my community members. So check that out when you get a chance. But what I want to get at here with the EMA is the simple fact that when the price is above EMA, it's considered bullish. When it's below, it's bearish. So the MACD, for example, that's the 12 and the 26 intersecting. Well, when it comes to the EMA line on the price action here, it's even nicer because it kind of tells you, hey, when the price is above, the bulls are in complete control. And oftentimes you can use this line to kind of guess where it's going to happen next. In other words, you see how the price right now is still staying above the EMA. It's a great sign. There's a good chance we might see another leg up here soon based on the fact that the VWAP line is still working as a support. Okay, it'll continue working as a support. And the fact of the matter is here that the price is still staying above EMA. So even though you can kind of see it back here, every time it tests, it holds, right? So yes, it'll kind of have a variation down below, but it comes back up. So those things you kind of look for. I know that's not exact science either. I don't know if I'm describing that very, very clear, but the price above EMA and VWAP is ultimately what you look for. So had you wanted to take entry here, you would have looked for something like this. This is an indicator that I have created that essentially just tells us that we have good confirmation here. In other words, this is a perfect time to take entry because the price is above EMA, price is above VWAP. So it's over support and it's confirmed that the bulls have control. And furthermore, you have 2 candlesticks closing in order above that, right? So that's what these little yellow up arrows do. That basically tells us that, hey, we've got 30 minutes confirmation in a bullish direction, okay? So why jump in to a trade when you don't have confirmation? There's no point in it. You're trying to buy the bottom, essentially buy the dip. You should only try to buy the dip when you have a strong support level. Outside of that one rule, really there's no point in trying to chase the bottom because you'll never truly find it. Why not chase the middle range when you actually jump into a trade when the bulls and the bears have already fought it out and the bulls actually are in control? Okay, because the whole point of being a good trader is to understand how these industry leaders are controlling the market, because we're not controlling it by any means. We don't have enough volume. They have the volume, and what they're doing is they're adding to their position and selling at specific points to drive the price in whichever direction they want. And when you can identify that and understand, okay, well, they're taking control right here, maybe I should consider taking entry soon, then you're going to find yourself in a much better position to be able to continue on in their same direction. So if you see right here, we're getting another convergence here, essentially to the upside. So the price is staying above EMA and VWAP. So this is signaling me here, telling me, hey, in this current time frame, this is actually showing us we have a good entry point. So this would be a good entry point here as well, potentially. Okay, because again, the price has a tendency, if you look at this history too, look, it's doing the same thing. It's coming up, down. What's to say it won't come back up again and continue its own pattern? Yeah, so just something to identify, something to look for. I highly recommend being cautious, moving your stop limit up, so your stop loss, of course, to ensure that you are profitable. So if you took entry underneath 43 cents, you might want to move up your stop loss to 40 maybe 42 cents, just say for example, in case it tests the support level and kind of bounces below but rejects. There's a strong consideration here of the fact that the price will likely work as a strong support for moving forward to 43 cents. Okay, so again, just something to look for, something to identify. I think this is a really good coin here. I think it's going to go places, and there's a strong chance we're going to see the most previous all-time high of, what was it, 57 cents? We're going to see that get tested here soon. And if it breaks above and closes on a one-day chart, then it's open season, and we're going to see some new all-time highs from Chromia. And I think there's a strong chance, strong potential for this to continue to take off. But I do hope that you found benefit. Of course, if you do, consider subscribing. If you haven't already, reference my Patron account. Show your support. Really helps me build this channel, keep things alive, because this is my my full-time ambition, and I'll be able to make this happen once I get to 200 members through my Patron account. So feel free to consider jumping in there as well. Really do appreciate your support. Also, to my current subscribers, thank you so much. You make my life tremendously better, and I can tell you that this is awesome. This is going to continue to be really good stuff, and I love being part of your life. So thank you so much. Now we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care. Thank you.